All right. I have my friend Nick Bear on the podcast today. Can you believe it, Courtney? We got Nick Bear in the studio. Let's make a big deal out of it. Let's make a big deal out of it.
I'm pumped.
I'm thankful. I'm so thankful that you're here, man. This is so cool because I've been on your show twice now, I think.
Yep.
And the conversations that I have had the opportunity to share in during our time together on the Nick Bear podcast have indeed been my favorite conversations that I've gotten to be a part of on podcasts. So when we get together, I always have fun. We've known each other for a long time, and for it to come full circle and for you to give me the opportunity to now learn from you and be sitting in the seat behind the questions, I'm just super thankful, brother.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this on the drive from the airport here this morning, and I've come to realize in my life there's certain things that I do that empty my cup, and there's certain things that I do that fill my cup. And I oftentimes find myself doing out of necessity more things that empty my cup than fill my cup. Conversations with you always fill my cup. And I don't say that lightly because there's very few people who fill my cup in the way that you do. So I'm very appreciative of your mentorship, your time, your wisdom. I mean, I respect you tremendously because of how bold you are in your beliefs. You stand firm. And I've looked up to that in you for a long time. So I value our time together significantly.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. For the listeners who are watching who don't know Nick, which, as you know, we talk about BPN all the time here. Nick is the founder of BPN, Bear Performance Nutrition. Today's podcast isn't going to be all about business, by the way. We've got other things to talk about, but there's a lot of cross-pollination between people who follow us or have followed our journeys, but also there's a lot of people watching this show who this will be the first time they've ever saw you. Nick he's not a hybrid athlete, he is the hybrid athlete. Straight up, the dude has led the charge in this hybrid athlete space. He has set the standard for so many people, and he does that by way of the content he produces around his training, his preparation, and all of the things that he's accomplished in terms of his fitness. I've never seen anybody quite do it like him. And if you don't know what a hybrid athlete is, go to Nick's YouTube channel and you'll see what it looks like to be able to run a super fast marathon and squat and lift all kinds of heavy weights and then do an Ironman and everything. It's like trying to be good at pretty much everything. I know that's not the exact definition, but it's wild, man. He's a husband. He's a father. He's an author. He is the host of the Nick Bear podcast, and he is on a mission to live a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. And I think you've been doing that for a long time, brother. So that's who Nick is. If you guys are a little bit of who Nick is, if you guys haven't heard of him before. And the first thing that we have to talk about on the podcast today is this dang truck you got, dude.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I knew it. I wish I could have drove it here so you could see it. And when you're in Texas, I can't wait to take you for a drive in. I love it. My kids love it. It's a 1974 F-250 Highboy. Completely restored. So I was looking for an old truck for a long time. Probably 8, 9 years ago, I had a 1996 F-250 that I found on the side of a road, bought it for $1,800, lifted it, new tires, wheels, gutted the interior, but it didn't do anything to the actual engine, and it crapped out on me. I mean, I would roll up to intersections and white smoke would blow out of this exhaust. I would fill an intersection.
That's not good.
Horrible. So I took it. I'll get to the new truck, but I ended up taking this 96 F-250 to a shop in Austin, dropped it off to get fixed. And they call back. They're like, hey, it's going to need a whole new engine. Well, I put, $5,000 into this whole thing. So I was like, I don't have the money. I just left the truck there. Never went and picked it up. Truck stayed there forever. I don't know where it's at.
What year was this?
96.
But what year did this happen?
This was 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Time frame.
Okay.
I didn't have the money to fix this thing up.
Yeah, I've been
further
there.
than I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I left the truck there. Ever since that moment, I've been on the hunt for an old truck again. So I was on Instagram probably 8 months ago. Came across this shop in Texas called Roadrunner Classics. And it's this guy, Jeremy. He just started up the shop. Just started getting into fixing up old Ford trucks. And he had this picture of this beat up 74 F-250. And I sent him a message. I said, do you have any more like this? He said, no one claimed it yet. Do you want it? 100%. So he worked on it for the next 6 to 7 months. It got delivered a few weeks ago. Boxwood green. Dude, I love driving this thing. My kid, we can't take my son, Nico, who's 1.5, out of the house without him wanting to get in the truck right now. So
that's a good sign, dude.
Last night, he was just playing in the truck for hours, just sitting in it. So it's been fun.
Well, look, man, for you guys Nick didn't do this truck justice, by the way. This guy, whoever this guy is at Roadrunner Classics, he doesn't just fix up trucks. This thing is like it rolled off the lot. At least from the videos I've seen of it. I mean, it
Beautiful.
looks like it rolled off the lot in the 1970s. It is, it's like one of one. I mean, you're not going to see another one like it.
No.
Um,
when I'm driving that thing down the highway, I mean, people were beeping at me. People were waving. People were admiring it.
Especially where you live. I mean, trucks are a big thing in Texas. So,
yeah.
What did they do to the drivetrain? Is it original, is it an updated engine and transmission, or is it like original rebuilt engine?
Original rebuilt.
Okay.
Yep, original rebuilt. His goal, and we worked together on this, his goal was to bring it back to like it just rolled off the line in 1974. Yep. We didn't add anything extra. Nothing's electronic. And I mean, there's a Bluetooth radio. Mm-hmm. But there's no electronic doors, locks, windows, anything else. It's like it just rolled off in 74.
I personally like that. This is the way I do my vehicles too. Because most people now, they have their dream vehicle, and once they get to the point that they're able to have it restored at the level you had that truck restored, they update all of the drivetrain, and they make everything electronic, and it's basically just the old vehicle shell, but all the new vehicle creature comforts.
Oh yeah, that's not this truck.
But when you do that, it's not the same experience driving it. That truck you got, I'm sure you actually have to drive it. You have to pay attention. It's not going to tell you when you get in the other lane or when someone's coming up beside you, Dude,
that was... I hate to say this, but that was the hardest adjustment. I remember getting in that truck, backing out of my driveway for the first time, and going to look for the rear view camera. Nothing. And I'm using my mirrors, and I mean, those mirrors on the side of those trucks are massive. The blind spots you have, when I'm pulling out an intersection, I got to move around.
Yep.
But it drives like an old truck.
Yep.
And you can't drive with one hand. You need both hands on that steering wheel because you're constantly moving your hands to keep that thing in the lane. My daughter loves when I take her to school in it. Getting a car seat in that thing is like a pain in the butt, I will tell you. But she loves when I take her to school in it. So the first day I was taking her to school in that truck, I was still trying to get used to the turn radius. That turn radius is nothing like my Raptor. So I'm pulling off of this main road to get into the school. And I mean, I wasn't even close to making this turn. This is a long truck crew cab. So I missed the turn. I'm backing out. Traffic stopped both ways. So now I have to take certain different routes with this truck compared to my Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the driving experience because someone else can't just hop in that and drive it.
No.
Like even to get it started, there's a certain position between park and reverse where you have to have it situated to get it turned over.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
Oh, I do too. That's a beautiful thing about driving an old vehicle. I mean, I think it's cool too how we've reached a point in culture where we've become so advanced, and now with the whole advent of AI and stuff, I mean, it's compiling, and it's compiling fast that so many of us are now finding enjoyment in actually going back to like the old way, like the old driving experience, or even growing your food, or what, like we're now finding a lot of enjoyment in that. I mean, it's wild, man. Who would ever thought we could be driving a Ford Raptor and we choose to be driving a truck from 1974? It really doesn't make sense to anyone else other than us who are living in this exact time and place.
Yeah,
you know?
I have a lot of thoughts about this frequently. About, I don't want to be the guy who's like anti technology and advancements, because the reality is, like, I use a lot of this technology and advancements and for home and personal and business. But I think we have to start making decisions that put us back in a present environment. This truck was like one of those things.
100%.
Like when I'm driving this truck to and from work, I can't be on my phone. I can't take calls in it. I put the windows down. I roll my window down. I lean over. I roll the other window down. I turn my music on, and I just drive. And as simple as that sounds and seems, it is so unfamiliar based off of where we've gotten to with technology in our lives. Like one of the things that Steph and I started doing the last couple of weeks, which has been a game changer, is we lock our phones. We pretty much turn our phones into dumb phones starting Friday night until Monday morning.
Mm.
So I'm not on social at all. I don't know what's going on in the world. But on the weekends now, we are so present. It is calm. It is relaxing. We're actually practicing the Sabbath. It's been awesome. And come Monday, I'm like, I could keep doing this for another couple of weeks, months, forever.
Yeah.
You know, it feels really good to be present.
You know what? So in January, I did something similar to that. Me and my friend Andy Stumpf,
I saw you doing that.
We kind of made a pact to, you know, cut our screen time down. And what I realized, it's an interesting study, like personal study. Like what was all of this time that I was spending on technology doing to just simply the way that I think, right? Because what I realized is when I did that for a month, and I basically cut my time more than in half that I was spending on that phone, it's like my creativity came back. It's like I started to think about, well, why aren't we doing this? Like, why aren't we changing this? Why aren't we looking at improving this? It's like I mean, to be honest with you, man, like I feel like I'm good at that. I like that. And you too. You're an entrepreneur. You love. I imagine thinking about how to improve this thing that you've built, this thing that God has given both of us, this great opportunity. But it's like that technology has almost stolen that part from me, and it came back when I, cut that out of my life to a high degree. It's doing a lot of things, man. It's doing a lot of things to us that I think we're going to figure these things out over the next couple of decades. Mm-hmm. And I'm like you too. I don't think that I'm the same way. I don't think that I'm not advocating for rejecting all of technology, but there does need to come a point that we need to have the discipline and the personal responsibility to say no to some things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, I don't know how you feel about AI, but that's one of those things. And a lot of times I wonder if it's just because I'm a dinosaur, you know, it's like, it's to this younger generation, it's just going to have been here since they've been born. And obviously they're going to accept it probably and utilize it. But that is a thing that I've said, you know what? I see how this is I see how it could add to my capabilities, but I also see how as a direct result of using this technology, I am going to become dumber and less creative.
Yeah.
And I've like rejected that part of technology personally. Not saying that everybody should do that. You may have to use it at some point in your business, right? You know, I don't know. But I think we have to have enough discipline to say no to some things and not just continue with progress just for the sake of progress, if that makes any sense. But,
yeah, I was listening to a podcast recently that was talking about the Amish. And, you know, I'm from central Pennsylvania, Lebanon County area, and there's a large Amish population there, Amish and Mennonite. So growing up, in the summers, I would work for the Department of Transportation. I was a flagger, so I would hold the stop and slow flag. And you'd have, you know, people driving to and from work, but then you'd have horse and buggies driving or moving on those roads as well. And I actually want to explore this more because I heard on this podcast, the Amish, people think that the Amish are anti-technology, and they're not. They just evaluate technology based off certain standards that they have. And I'm really interested in that. I don't know much because I haven't dug into like what those criteria are of what technology they accept or deny. But they're not anti-technology just to be anti-technology. They're either pro or against based off certain criteria. And I think that's almost the way that we have to approach some of these advancements in technology. Like, what is the pro? What is the con? Like, talking into AI, for example. Like, I've done a few podcasts where I've used ChatGPT to help me structure the outline of this podcast. Now I have a topic.
And it's good.
And it's great. It helps so much. But I will tell you, when I finish that podcast, it doesn't feel quite as good. I'm like, this felt almost a little too easy. It laid out the structure for me. It gave me the title. I still had to put in the work and the research. But the effort didn't feel as fulfilling and rewarding. What feels really good is the work. You know, I like reading some of Arthur C. Brooks' work. He's a social scientist. He teaches a class, I believe at Harvard, on happiness. And this class sells out within like seconds every year. And there's a huge wait list because everyone wants to know, how do I become happier? And he talks about how like we need satisfaction, and how you get satisfaction is achieving through struggle. And my fear is that AI is reducing struggle. It's making things easier to achieve and accomplish. So we're not as satisfied. So we have to keep chasing for more and more and more and striving and striving and striving, which is leading us almost in the opposite direction of where I think we want to go. I think AI has a time and place for sure, but I think we have to put some guardrails in terms of what's it used for, what is it not used for. I'm not super educated on all of the AI advancements and what it can and cannot do, but just like that gut intuition feel, it's like, something doesn't feel really good about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when you're asking AI for advice on how to live your life, I feel like it's went too far.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the same as you. I'm not super educated on even everything that it can do. And I think there are uses for it, especially when it comes to scaling business and marketing and stuff like that. But when you're asking it, okay, I mean, I have good friends who are very successful, some of the most successful entrepreneurs on earth, and I'm very close to these friends, and they're falling into this trap. And I'm like, I'm watching them fall into this trap, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like you're a genius. This is your lane, and you're asking AI for advice on entrepreneurship. Like, have you forgotten who you are?
Yeah.
Like, look how successful you are, man. And it's wild, and I feel like that's just an example of someone who doesn't need it. It's not adding anything to their life, but they're just saying yes to it because it's there, because it is available. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for what we know and can do. I'll use parenting, for example. I think a lot of people, and I try, and I encourage Steph as well, let's not use AI for any parenting advice or even going to social media or the internet for parenting advice. Because I see a lot of people using social media and technology and AI. Like, hey, my child's going through this. What do I do? Like we were created with this like intuition on how to raise and lead children. People have been doing it for thousands of years. Like, we are not the first generation to raise children. I think it's a tempting and scary place to be when you're using technology to give you all the answers on how to raise a human being, to lead them and develop them into a functioning, contributing member of the world society. I think that's where it starts getting really scary.
Yep. And I would say, you talk about that is a human instinct or an intuition, how to raise this child. People have been doing it since the literal beginning of time. It's like, so I would also say that you and I and humanity as a whole can lose that instinct.
Yeah.
If we don't continue to use it. Because think of all the other instincts that we've lost. We used to know how to feed ourselves off of the land out here. Mm-hmm. We used to know how to preserve food, what we could eat, what we couldn't eat. We used to, by instinct, we used to know all of these things. And we see that same instinct now in wildlife. I mean, the deer know what they should eat, what they can eat, what they can't eat. They know how to survive in their environment. Humans have completely lost that instinct. And I think this is another instinct. Just to raise our children is something that we could lose. I mean, I would say even just within a few generations.
Yeah.
Modern man could lose that ability. And so then you talk about losing that instinct. Well, at that point, our entire existence is pretty much hinging upon this technology continuing to work for us mm-hmm. for the rest of time. I mean, that's wild, isn't it?
That's, I think, you nailed it right on the head. Like, that's the fear, is that we're starting to do things that don't rely on our ability to do it. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Like, that is the truth.
Yeah.
We've seen that time and time again over many years and generations. Like, the practices that we stop practicing, they become obsolete. Like, that muscle atrophies, it wastes, it becomes small, unusable. That's the fear. So I'm trying to identify things in my life that I don't want to atrophy, and making sure that I keep showing up and doing those things to maintain the sharpness of it.
Yep. Yep. And that's not the easy path. And that's going to make you look different than everyone else around you, or at least 98% of other humans around you moving forward. It's going to make you look different. It's a good thing. And I think we're actually going to reach a point that it's going to pay off in many different aspects, but we're going to get into that here in just a minute. I didn't even know we were going to talk about all that. That was perfect.
I mean, it's
an interesting conversation.
Super interesting stuff.
It is, man.
And I think it has to be approached in the right way as well, because
if you don't, nobody's going to hear it.
Yeah, I see too many people trying to talk about it of like anti this, anti that. And I'm not anti anything. I want to gather the facts and like form my own opinion based off of what I'm seeing happening. I don't have all the answers. I don't have the facts, but like I'm in this mode right now of just like observing and like figuring out how I feel about certain things. AI is one of those. I think a lot of people are too quick to jump to a conclusion with very limited data or facts to form a real opinion.
Yep. And you know, another thing that I think you would agree with, Nick, is a lot of people also, not only do they not have the data that they need to make a responsible decision, the facts they need, they're just getting whatever snippets they can consume, you know, from whatever media they follow. But have you noticed too how few people just intentionally take time throughout their daily life to think? Like people who just create space in life to think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said something earlier. You said, you know, you're doing at least a portion of your work now off site because it opens up this quiet time. It opens up this space for you to actually be able to think about things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's the common thing now is to fill every moment with some sort of stimulus. And that, I don't know about you, but that's not the way that I live. Like I intentionally create space in my life every single day to think, or whatever you want to call it, meditate, think about these things, right? And I think we have to do that.
I mean, I'm naturally an introverted person, and Steph and I were having this conversation about a year ago because, like by definition, from my understanding, an introverted person, they recharge in quiet space on their own. An extroverted person is energized by being with other people, with community. I know that when I come off a big weekend that is events and races and filled with people, I need the next couple of days of a lot of me time.
Same here, brother.
I need that. And the best way I heard it described recently, which is on, I believe, a Craig Gershell podcast, he talked about creating margin in your life. And I love this concept because like what margin is, it's a difference between our limits and our load. So if you think about like your limits in a day, you have 24 hours. So many people are like, okay, how do I fill those 24 hours with 24 hours? Like my load is up to my limit. So you have no margin. The way that I want to live my life is I want a lot of margin. Like I have my 24 hours. When I wake up and I see that I have one thing on my calendar for the day, I'm like, yeah, baby. Like it's a lot of margin. That's a lot of time to just think and visualize and work on myself and where I'm going and spend time with God. Like I need that margin. But so many people live their lives with limited margin because they put their load up to the limit. And then that's where you just wear yourself down.
But that's the message, man. Like, and has been the message for, I mean, at least since I've been on social media since, you know, I got out of the Navy 6 years ago. Like that's been the message in the entrepreneurship space, in the fitness space, and you know, there are a few people out there who are extremely popular who that is the message, is push all the way up to the limit, and that's when you're doing it right. And
I think we're seeing a shift, though.
It is a beautiful thing. I also believe we're seeing a shift away from that. I think we're seeing people realize that, man, the end state of actually trying to do that is a destruction of pretty much everything around me, and it's not success even in my goals that I'm trying to achieve by doing that. and we're seeing a change in direction. And I hope people's eyes are opening up to the fact also that even the people who maybe you've looked up to who say that that is how they live, they're probably not living that way.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's like,
dude, since running my podcast and just being in the room with a lot of successful, high achieving people, I've been really surprised by how many of these people don't have it figured out, but they're acting like they got it figured out. Like they are sometimes leading people to a place where they're more lost than the people that they are leading. And that's what I've come to realize, like social media is just fake. It's this fake place where everyone's trying to be something they're not and put on this perception of they have all the answers and all the wisdom. And in this last year, my just whole perspective on wisdom and margin and how I should be spending my time has really started to evolve and shift and change. Because I've seen all the holes, or a lot of the holes in what people are promoting and pushing. And I've pursued those paths. I've tried to live the life where there's no margin.
I know you have, yeah.
And I've like strived and pushed and achieved. And it's gotten me to where I am today. I have to like recognize that and respect that and appreciate that. But at what cost and sacrifice? You know, I'm proud of what I have accomplished, but I think there's other ways to do it where the collateral damage isn't as great on the people around you that you love and your own mental peace.
Yeah, yeah. That's such a good caveat too to this conversation is I think that we should acknowledge in this conversation that there might be seasons where you do have to live that way.
For sure.
Like, but it's a season and it's for a purpose, and it should never be it should never be your goal for your life to look like that long term. I think that's a great caveat to acknowledge that, because I think about seasons of my life where I did live that way, where I didn't have any margin, and it produced great things and it helped me get to where I am today. But the end state of that, if that is your goal long term, is destruction of your marriage, your own physical health, and so many other things. You know,
yeah, I'm a fan of hard work.
Yeah,
I love hard work. I recognize like there have to be seasons sometimes when you're sprinting.
Yep,
and you have to sacrifice certain things: time, money, resources, energy. You just got to do what you got to do. And I've done that many times in my life. But what I have found is sometimes that can become your identity. Like for me personally, and this is something I'm in the middle of navigating and learning about myself right now, I became the guy of consistency, of discipline, of commitment, of no days off, of grinding and crushing myself and from prep to managing all these things. And I made that my identity. I wore that for so long that I didn't know there were any other options. It's like, I got to be this guy that everyone expects me to be and keep crushing myself, even though I'm pretty tired at this point. So I share that to say, I love hard work. I believe in hard work, but it can be really dangerous when it becomes your identity. And then you fall into this autopilot of just doing it because it's who you are, even though in the background, you're sacrificing things you don't want to or need to sacrifice.
That's so good, man. And you're right, man. It's really cool as somebody who's known you for years now. You did become like the model for that. Like everything from, and you were living it too. Like you weren't just posting about it. Like the few times I know that coming to visit you at HQ, it's like, I watch you and it's like your day is dialed in. Your nutrition is dialed. Your training schedule is dialed. Like I mean, you have been that example of like, good night. How is this dude doing all of this stuff, man?
It's a lot.
So
it takes a lot of work and forward thinking and backwards
good
planning.
night, dude.
Like I was texting you earlier, and you gave me some suggestions of where to go grab lunch.
Yeah.
Well, I should have sent you a photo. I have a photo on my phone because I sent it to Trey. I was sitting in a Publix parking lot eating beef and rice out of a bag that I carried on the plane. So last night I made my beef and rice. I put it in a little cooler pack. And Steph gives me crap all the time for it because I'll be on an airplane. I'll pull out my Ziploc bag and it's 8 ounces of ground beef, 300 grams of jasmine rice. Because like I've lived that life for so long of forward thinking and backwards planning and having the things I need to set myself up for success, that for me, it's actually not hard work anymore. It's just part of what I do. It's become so routine and ritual that I don't view that as discipline anymore. It is just something that I instinctively do.
I get that. I want to just touch base quickly on Ironman because I know that's the most recent challenge that you trained for. And I'm just interested to hear from you as an athlete how that stacked up in comparison to ultra running endeavors, marathons, other hard things that you've put on, on your plate that you've accomplished in the past. I'm asking this kind of selfishly because Ironman is something that I'm very intrigued by and very interested in. So how did that particular event stack up in comparison to the other difficult physical races, challenges that you've done in the past?
Yeah. I'd say the most challenging prep that I've ever done was actually the bodybuilding show I did in 2023. Because that's 24/7 nonstop. With like an Ironman prep, there were days where I was training 6 hours, but once the training's over, you go home, you eat a meal, you hang out with the family, you rest, you eat more food. Like the effort is hard, feels good, but once you're done training, it's like, all right, I'm off the clock until the next workout the next day. Bodybuilding was like starving yourself for weeks and weeks and weeks, where you'd eat a meal, you wouldn't be full. And you're like, oh gosh, I just can't escape this. So I would say like finishing the bodybuilding competition and being able to eat normal food again was equivalent to graduating Ranger School. It was like this escape from prison. So I'd say that was the most challenging. Ironman, this was a really unique prep. This was an 18-week prep. This was my first triathlon being a dad. So my daughter, Charlie, is now 3.5. So she was about 3 years old when I started the prep. My son was about 1 year old when I started the prep. He's 1.5 now. I had to talk to Steph, obviously, prior to starting that prep, because we know how time consuming, but also energy consuming an Ironman prep is. Not just physically, but mentally. So I was training anywhere from 18 to 22 hours a week. I was running 60 to 65 miles a week. I was doing a long bike ride once a week that ranged from 3 hours to 5 hours. I was swimming multiple times a week. I mean, it was a lot of training. A lot of it is like zone 2 aerobic work. So it's not beating you down, but that volume still accumulates. I would say I have the luxury of making it part of my job where I could do a lot of the training during the day. So I would always run before the kids woke up. I was done with my runs before the family was up. And then I would do my other training sessions during the workday because we were filming it for the series. And I was always home by 4:30 p.m. at the latest. That was my commitment to the family and Steph. Weekends, Saturday, I'd have a long run in the morning, but I was, again, always done by the time that the family woke up. I'd wake up as early as I had to. Sundays was a easy spin on the bike, which I would do during Nico's nap. So I worked all my training around the family, which I'm very proud of the way that I managed that. But this prep was really different for me. One, because it was the first prep I've done that I've been fully committed to following Jesus and dedicated my life to Christ. So the purpose and a lot of the work and just, man, a lot of the alone time that I had on the bike, running, I was able to spend a lot of time with God, a lot of time in prayer. I grew significantly during that 18-week prep. I mean, there's no exaggeration. Like the person I was when I started the prep and the person I was at the end of the prep, two completely different people.
And that's never happened. You never experienced that before. Yeah.
Never. There's always been like these unlocks in these races and these preps. And sometimes I've had to like really dive into like, what was the unlock of this prep, or what was the unlock of this race? But during these 18 weeks, I mean, complete transformation and renewal. So from that sense, it was a very rewarding 18-week prep.
Dang, that's awesome, dude.
When it came to like the race day, I cared about the race, but I also like didn't care about the race. Like I knew I was just getting to the finish line where my family was going to be. And we showcased this in the film. But when I go into a race, like I'm dialed in. And Steph knows it. Of all these years I've done races, like you can't get my attention while I'm racing. I'm in the zone.
Yep.
It's like I feel like I'm going to war with myself. And I got to the run portion of the Ironman. And I ended up completing the Ironman in 10 hours, 6 minutes, which I was happy with. I was really proud of. And I got to the run portion of the race, and I was feeling really good. It was a 3-loop course, and went around the first loop, saw the family, but like really didn't acknowledge anyone. I was just zoned in, dialed in. And then as I'm finishing that first loop, coming around the second loop, I kept thinking to myself, man, how do I want my daughter to remember this race? How do I want my daughter and family to remember me doing these preps and racing and building this business? And I don't want them to remember it as like dad was so locked in and dialed in, he ignored us. He forgot about us. So I told myself, okay, on this next lap, when I see Charlie, when I see Nico, when I see Steph, my dad was there, I'm going to stop. I'm going to start walking. I'm going to walk over to them off the course, and I'm going to act like I'm not even racing anymore. I'm just going to pick up Charlie. I'm going to hug her, kiss her. I'm going to talk to the family. So I did that. That second loop around, I stopped. I walked over to them. Everyone's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I heard someone say, you're going to miss 10 hours. You're going to miss 10 hours. I'm like, dude, it's okay. It's all right. Like, my family's right here. So I picked Charlie up, hugged her, kissed her, just talked to the family for a little bit, and then got back on the course. And that's the way I wanted them to remember me doing these races. It wasn't for me. It wasn't to boast in my performance. It was to like showcase me as this growing man, this leader, this father, this husband. And that's what I wanted the whole series, the whole prep to the message to be shared. I was really proud of that whole prep. I was proud of the race. I was proud of the effort. But more importantly, the man I became through that 18-week journey.
And the legacy, the legacy of the yeah, man, the memory that your daughter will have, and even your wife will have, you know, is of that particular thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, dang, I bet they were freaking out. I bet they were like, has he lost his mind? What's because they've probably never seen you do anything like my wife has never seen me do anything like on a race like that either, because I'm the same way as you. Like when I'm there to race, like really not just at a race to be there to be hanging out with people. I run some races like that are just for fun, but when I'm there at a race and I've put the work into being there, I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I mean, I get mean. I get real mean.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's that I needed to hear that because I've got a son on the way. Things are about to change for me. We're going to get into that here in a little bit and really break this down more. But that's awesome, brother. I just, I'm intrigued by Ironman. I think it's something that I'm going to endeavor to do maybe next year because the different skill sets, the different disciplines, and going from one to the other. I miss that from being a SEAL. Like most of our PTs were structured that way, and I haven't done a hard effort that had all those components back to back to back really since I was in the teams. That's what appeals to me about it.
Ironman's fun because all the work builds such insane fitness. Like you reach a point in that prep, you're like, I am fit.
Yep.
I remember my last 22-mile run, and I didn't feel anything that whole run. Just 22 easy, casual miles, thinking, I'm pretty fit right now.
You're tuned up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like hopping on a bike for Monday afternoon. Like my average Monday afternoon after getting out of meetings would be 4 hours spent on the bike. And I get off the bike, I pack up my stuff, I go home, we have dinner with the family. It just became like so routine.
Mm-hmm.
Running every morning, cycling, swimming. You just build so much fitness, and your aerobic base and foundation is so strong. It's like another level of fitness. Yeah,
the combination of the result from those three disciplines all piled up into one. It was the same way. It was the same way in Buds. It was like, yeah, that was the fittest I've ever been in my life. And I think it's for the exact reason you're talking about right there. It's because you were swimming, you were running, you were rucking, you were doing O course, you were, you don't get that you don't get that sense of, dang, I am really fit right now when you're just ultra running.
Yeah.
Or you're just weightlifting. So that's pretty exciting to me to think about feeling that way again about your fitness.
Well, if you think about like running, imagine running 22 hours a week. Your body would be busted up and broken down.
Yeah.
So like,
you can't do it.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, so like what's nice about Ironman prep is like being on the bike and swimming is such low impact. You're getting all the aerobic gains without the stress to like your muscles and your joints and your feet. So you can stay relatively healthy while still building this amazing aerobic engine.
Yeah.
If I was going to train for another ultra, I would probably keep like running volume pretty moderate, but add in cycling to get the added additional aerobic benefits without crushing my muscular system.
Yep.
And central nervous system.
Yep. Road biking, that is, not mountain biking.
Oh yeah.
Mountain biking just made me fat.
I did most of my cycling on the indoor trainer, actually.
Yeah, I know. I saw your setup there
like
at
95% of my bikes were on that indoor trainer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But when I finished the Ironman, I hate swimming. I hate swimming so much.
Oh, I hate swimming too.
Like during the Ironman itself, I knew I wasn't going to have a fast swim. And like some of these guys are getting out of the water in 45 minutes.
And how long is the swim? Over 2 miles, right?
2.4 miles.
That's fast, dude.
I swam in an hour and 30. So I got out of the water and I wasn't trying to do anything crazy. I knew that I'd make up my time on the run and the bike. When I was on the bike, I passed 1,000 people. I cooked on the bike.
Good night. That had to feel good.
Cooked on the bike. But I got out of the water and everyone was like looking at me thinking I was going to be disappointed. Oh, he's going to be so mad. Hour and a half. I got out. I was like, no, I'm good. Like, now we got to go crush the bike in the run.
All part of the plan.
Part of the plan.
Yep.
But when I finished the swim, when I finished the whole Ironman, I committed to never swimming again. I threw away my wetsuit. I threw away my goggles at the Airbnb in Arizona. Like, I'm not even bringing this back to Texas. We're done swimming. Done.
Typical Army guy.
Yeah. And then I'll probably sign up for another one at some point again. Yeah, to buy all the stuff.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I didn't even mention you've done so much, dude. Like, you have done so much. It's crazy how it's not that your background, at least the piece of your story that is as a veteran, it is extremely honorable, extremely important as it is to my story. But you know what I think's so cool, man, and like I've always looking at you from the outside, is you've done so much that it overshadows like even the military stuff. Like, it's not even something you even talk about that much.
Yeah.
I mean, you rarely even talk about it because it's like, but I guess the reason I'm saying this is because when I came out of the military, I always thought that this veteran thing, this military service is going to be the core of my story forever.
Yep.
No, it doesn't have to be. And I think that's good news for other veterans who are listening to the show. If you're just getting out, or if you're still in and maybe you're thinking about getting out one day, like, look at this dude, man. He doesn't even have to talk about being in the Army, because it's like he's built so much, and he's done so much, and he's had other goals and other endeavors, and he can talk about it if he wants to, but he doesn't have to. And I'm just now getting to that point, man, where I feel that way. Like,
I think it's great.
My new speech that I have, it's like very little of it is about the military.
It's part of you and always will be. I even think about, like, as I visualize 5, 10, 15, 20 years in my future, I might not even be talking about like the fitness Nick might be of the past. I'm not even talking about anymore. And I think that's great.
It's exciting.
It's super exciting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they create this like resume of who they are, and they think they have to be that person for the rest of their life. So as they're being called to something new, or they want to explore something new, like, they're not willing to surrender that previous identity, which doesn't allow them to walk into this new chapter and season. I think it actually holds a lot of people back from what we're being called to go into next.
You nailed it, man. You nailed it. It should be encouraging to you guys. And it is scary, I think, when you walk away, or not walk away from, but you go into whatever your next calling is, wherever you are feeling led to go. Like, it is scary to say, okay, I may have to, I'm going to have to create some new stories here. Like, I'm the new guy over here now again in this new arena. But ultimately, I know for me, now looking back on my life, at least up to this point, I'm so thankful that I have now enough new stories that I can share with people, and lessons that I can share with people that didn't come from the military.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is just, I don't know, man. It's a way I think life should be lived, like, to the fullest, Do
you think, or do you feel God calling you somewhere that you're afraid to step into right now?
Oh, yeah. Being a father. Yeah. Dude.
What scares you about it?
Oh, man. Well, dude, this podcast isn't about me. No, we're not going there. We could talk about that on our run later. We are going. I am going to talk to you about being a parent, but I want to talk about, or I want to learn, or hear the story of essentially what we would call your testimony. And I know this is something that you and Steph sat down and did on your podcast. I have intentionally not listened to it because I wanted to be curious about it as we talk today, and I wanted to hear it from you. But it's really weird, man, because I guess when I was younger, most of the time when I saw adults who submitted to the lordship of Jesus Christ, it was because they had hit a rock bottom moment.
Yeah.
Essentially, it was like, whether it was drugs or finances or health or something, like they hit this rock bottom moment, and then, that was their testimony. I hit this rock bottom. I realized, oh my gosh, I need something other than myself to help me crawl out of this hole that I'm in. That's been the typical story that you hear from people. And but at least looking from the outside, your testimony is different in the sense that you are a guy who, for lack of better terms, or to sum it up, has everything. I mean, you have achieved the American dream, dude. You've built a multi-million-dollar company. You've served your country. You've achieved all of these massive physical challenges. You've built a following. You've poured into essentially you had everything. So it's like, it's just, to me, I want to learn, like, what happened, man? Like, why, what led you to the point? And of course, I believe that salvation is all of the Lord, but he gives us a story along the way. Like, he leads us into the place he wants us to go.
For sure.
And we're making choices along that way. It's a really weird dynamic. I believe it's all of the Lord, but I got to hear what happened, man, because you made a hard shift from the time I first started following you. You were rocking and rolling. You were crushing it. Not that you're not still doing that. You were doing all that stuff. You were big into, I don't know if you would call it the self-help, but you were a consumer of, you love to read. I mean, you are so knowledgeable because you're always, thinking, how can I improve this? How can I dial this in better? And also, I think a lot of your personal life and just who you were as just a, like inside as a human, you kind of kept that, not that you didn't ever show your human side, but in your content, like, it wasn't a super prevalent thing that you showed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now you have come out in even this latest film that you've put out, and like, you are sharing and showing so much of yourself and this faith that you have, and how it is now integrated into your life, your training, your family. It's huge, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the heck? How did this happen to Nick, man? Can you tell me that story? Like,
yeah,
however far back we need to go to where this began, how it led you to this point that you are today, that we're now sitting here.
Yeah. I mean, I was radically saved. And if you would ask me what does it mean to be radically saved a year ago, I'd have no clue. And it's really hard to describe because it is like this feeling. This past summer, I mean, I literally felt the Holy Spirit drop within me and take over my whole body. The most wild experience I've ever had in my life. And like it shifted my life forever.
What were you doing?
How was I radically saved?
Yeah, like,
yeah. So
what was going on?
I grew up a cultural Christian. I grew up every Sunday. Parents would wake us up, put our church clothes on. We go to church. Afterwards, we go to my grandparents with the whole family. We'd have Sunday dinner. It was just part of the rituals of religion that we lived. My mom was a firm believer. And especially as she got older, she got diagnosed with cancer. She passed away from ovarian cancer in 2019. And literally, me, Steph, my whole family were sitting in my parents' house, the house I grew up in. She was on hospice care the last couple of days. I mean, we were all sleeping in the living room, taking shifts of putting morphine into my mom's mouth every couple hours while she was in hospice. It was probably the day before she passed away. She pulled all of us in and she looked at us and said, if you ever want to see me again, you have to love the Lord. Unfortunately, that didn't save me. That didn't change anything in me. That was 2019. Nothing changed. But I'll never forget that moment. Being a Christian was always part of my life, but it wasn't a priority. I didn't know if I actually believed. I questioned it many times. I was a lukewarm Christian at best. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Steph would, be Saturday night. Hey, you want to go to church tomorrow? Not really. Can we find anything else to do? And this past summer, I reached like the peak of my personal and professional life and career thus far. Married, 2 healthy young kids, thriving business, moved into a new HQ. I started this business in 2012 in my college apartment, and we moved into a 76,000 square foot warehouse this past summer. Beautiful headquarters. Financially, I had some really successful outcomes this past summer. All these things, just like boom, 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 boom. Mm. So I had everything to be grateful for, but I still was unfulfilled, unhappy. It still wasn't enough. And I think I reached this point where I kind of became hopeless. If I can have all these things, I have everything I want, everything I could ever ask for, ever need, and I'm still not fulfilled. I'm still not happy. What is wrong with me? What am I trying to get to? And, this is why the message that we shared in this Iron Man film, The Last Dance, I found that over the years, I love training. I love fitness. I love these races, these preps. But I tied so much my identity to performance and pleasing other people. Like I replaced this hole in my heart, which should have been filled with Christ, with performance and pleasing. So I would burn myself out to please other people, give them what they wanted to see, what they wanted from me. I'd sign up for these races and I'd dedicate my whole life to this prep, and I'd sacrifice everything else for this race, for this prep, for this series. And this past summer, it's something like I just felt hopeless. It's the only way to describe it. And Steph, myself, and Charlie, our daughter, decided to go to a Brandon Lake concert. I wasn't saved at the Brandon Lake concert, but this is part of the story. We're at this Brandon Lake concert. Charlie loves Brandon Lake and Forrest Frank and all these worship artists. And I've sat in church many times before where the pastor on stage says, if you want to dedicate your life, commit your life to Christ right now, raise your hand, come up, we'll pray over you. I was always the guy in the back of church, arms crossed, being like, dude, I ain't doing this crap.
Yeah.
What is this? And something during this concert, I'm looking at Charlie, I'm looking at Steph, I have my family with me. Nico wasn't old enough to go to the concert, so he was back with a babysitter. This guy on stage, before any of the artists came out, prayed this prayer and said, if you want to dedicate your life to Christ right now, put your hand up, do it. I was like, you know what? I got nothing left. I'm all out of options. I'm doing this. Put my hand up. And over the next couple of days, something just started shifting in me. And I could not figure it out. But I felt this peace. I felt this actual rest. I felt this joy. And I wish I could go back and relive this. But I mean, I could feel the Holy Spirit, like literally in me, taking over my body. Where, you know, they say you are blind and then you finally see. That's how I felt. Yeah. Like I had blinders on my eyes and they were finally lifted. And I started reading scripture and, oh my gosh, like all the answers I've been looking for are right here. All the wisdom I've been looking for is right here. I've been trying to fill this Jesus-shaped hole in my heart with all these other things: races, preps, followers, views, likes, engagement, money, milestones. Like I tried to fill it with everything, and nothing filled it until I finally committed my life to Christ. And it changed me as father, husband, leader. I mean, I've never felt this type of rest and peace before. It's always been striving and the next thing and the next thing. And I finally just surrendered. You know, and it's, everyone told me early on, hey, you think this is going to make your life easier? It's not. It's going to make your life harder. I didn't understand that in the beginning. Now I understand that. Because waking up every day, dying to yourself, picking up your cross and following Jesus, it's really hard to do. Because as someone who's been a high achiever, a type A person for my entire life, I want to naturally white knuckle, manhandle, and manipulate and control every part of my life. And I find after committing my life to Christ, when I do that and I try to do everything on my own, I find myself in the same position I was 1 year ago. No peace, no rest, no joy, striving, wanting the next thing and the next thing and more and more and more. And I have to constantly remind myself every day, you got to surrender. You got to surrender. Die to yourself, take up your cross, follow him. Yeah. I was thinking that the whole drive here today, I still find myself trying to white knuckle, manhandle, manipulate, and control all these other parts of my life. And when I do, it leads me into self-destruction. But I mean, this past summer, I was radically saved. I mean, the Holy Spirit took over my whole body.
It was visible to everyone who's been following.
Dude,
you.
It was wild.
You were literally made a new creature.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know how you said most people that give their life to Christ, it's because they reached rock bottom. So many people, when I started talking about this transformation in Jesus and dedicating my life to Christ, he had to have done something. He had to have done something to mess up. So there's all these Reddit threads and there are all these rumors going around that I had an affair and I cheated on Steph and that's why I must have dedicated my life to Christ. No. I would argue that it was the complete opposite. I reached this peak of having everything I ever wanted and needed and realizing that it wasn't enough.
Isn't it wild how that is, in a weird way, its own type of rock bottom?
Yeah.
People are going to hear that and say, oh, that's stupid. I mean, how could you say that? That's totally different. It's not that much different. Hopelessness is hopelessness. And whether you acknowledge your hopelessness by way of getting to a place where you have everything the world has to offer, or you acknowledge your hopelessness by getting to the place where you realize you don't have anything and you're in a hole that you got to dig yourself out of, it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
It's odd how it's odd how the Almighty knows us so well that he created us all uniquely and he takes us along the path and he brings us to that realization of our hopelessness and utter despair by different means. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. And how was that hopelessness manifesting itself in your life? when you were experiencing that last summer? Like you had all those successes and I mean, was there like, how was it manifesting itself in your day-to-day life?
I was angry. I was stressed. I was always trying to figure out like, what more can I be doing? You know, like, here's an example. I used to really struggle with vacations. Like vacation for me used to be a waste of time. It was a distraction from being able to work. So Steph used to almost dread going on vacation with me because I was a miserable person. We'd be sitting on the beach and I'm like on my phone answering emails or I'm listening to self-help books and podcasts. And I wasn't actually there. I was there, but I wasn't present. I was thinking about work and business and stressing out that people weren't going to see me in the office and thinking I was slacking and lazy and I was losing fitness and I wasn't able to keep up my runs and my routines and my beef and rice and the workouts and all these things. And now, like vacation for me is like true rest, recovery. The weekends now, I used to hate the weekends because the weekends were a distraction from work. Now my favorite thing to do is come Saturday and Sunday, no plans. No plans. Just go with the flow. But it manifested into just this angriness of I'd look at people who were out there doing quote unquote more than me, better than me, and I would resent them. I would hate them. I would want them to lose. I would want them to like fall off a cliff. Everyone was my enemy. Everyone was my competitor. If they had a bigger business, if they were making more money, if their engagement was stronger, if they were performing better. And now, like, it's the last thing I care about. Like, I want to see people succeed.
Yeah.
I want to see people succeed much greater and achieve much more than what I've achieved. I mean, it's wild how your body and your mind and your spirit just change. Like, I used to curse like a sailor. It just became part of my language. I'd be up in front of the BPN team for an all hands meeting, dropping the F word left and right. I'd use it as a comma. And I used to justify it as, well, when I was in the Army and the infantry, it's just how we spoke. So now I still speak that way. Since I committed my life to Christ this past summer, I haven't cursed once. It feels unnatural. It feels like my tongue won't even produce those words. And I'm not saying anyone who curses is a bad person. I'm just saying, like, I'm sharing how my posture and language has changed since being saved. Like, those words they aren't part of my vocabulary anymore. The way that I want to show up for my wife, Steph, the way that I want to show up for my kids, the way I want to show up for the team, the leader that I want to be. I feel this huge responsibility and obligation and this calling to lead people, but specifically be a role model and leader of men in a world that is deconstructing men. I feel like I'm being called to be this role model of what it means and looks like to be a man of God through stewarding my body in health and fitness, the way I show up as a father and a husband, the way I show up as a leader in the business, the way that I carry myself in public, being a selfless servant. That's like my mission right now that I'm on, is being a leader and role model to men. Because I think that the world and society is doing a horrible job at it. And I don't want to pursue that mission to boast in myself, but to drive all glory to God in hopes that he uses me to fulfill his mission. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things you told me the last time we were in our podcast that I include in my prayer every time is, Lord, continue to conform me in the image of your son, Jesus Christ, at all cost.
Yeah.
And I always say again, at all costs. Like, take it all. Almost like encouraging him. Like,
Yeah.
Lord, take it all.
Sift me. Yeah.
Yep. And, man, like this transformation has just put me on a new mission. I'm so fired up about.
Well, you're not the only one. I'm fired up about it too. Yeah. I mean, getting to be a witness to what the Almighty has done in you is, I mean, we shout for joy about it around here all the time, you know? And it's not because you have a platform. It's because you're my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel the same way about the work that he does in anyone else who I care about and who I'm close to. And I should feel the same way about people that I don't even know and don't care about. But obviously I have a deeper emotional connection to people that I'm close to and have a relationship with. And I'm interested, where was Steph in her faith? If she wouldn't mind you sharing, like,
a few years ago, she committed her life to Christ.
Okay.
And she almost gave up on me. She just assumed like I was never going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm going to have to, like, pursue this life separately from where Nick is on this journey and path. But I will say, like, come this past summer, when I'm the type of person, when I do something, I don't just like dip my toe in it. When I decide I'm in, I'm all in. All in. And I mean, she was like taken back by what happened to me this past summer. She could not believe her eyes. But it's made both of our faiths grow stronger. Because now we have like these partners in life that we're on this journey together with. We're in the Word together. We're praying together. It's guided like where we're going next. And it's made life so much more exciting because we don't know where God is going to take us, but we know He's about to take us on an adventure, and that's what's exciting. But Steph, I mean, she's been on this journey for years now, but she didn't think she'd ever see me get there.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see why, because I can kind of relate to Steph because I was saved prior to my wife, and so I kind of had it was flip-flopped in our marriage, you know what I mean? When I got back from a deployment after being saved on that deployment and walked into a house where my wife was essentially perishing from a decades-long drug addiction, you know what I mean? And I thought the same thing. How on earth is she ever going to be saved? You know what I mean? But you, in your situation, one, you're older. So there's something about like when people get past a certain age, it's like, for some reason you don't lose hope for them, but you're like, it's a rare thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're so driven, and because you have so much focus, I can see why she would feel that way. But were you talking to her at all about the hopelessness that you were feeling and the anger that you were feeling and the realization that all of this that we now have as a family, like, it's not hitting the spot for me? Were you talking to her about that stuff as
she
it
saw
went?
It for years.
Okay.
She saw it for years, the pressure that I put on myself and the stress that I carried and the pressure and oh yeah, like she knew exactly how I felt. And like, she was out of answers. She said, I don't know how to help you. You got to make some sort of change. It's not just going to get magically better. And especially this past summer when all these great things happen, I think she lost a lot of hope of thinking, man, if we have all of this now, you're still not there, what's it going to take?
Yeah.
What's it going to take?
Yeah. She was thinking about that traditional rock bottom moment, and it didn't seem to ever be a way for you to get there.
Yeah.
Man, I got to ask you, and praise the Lord for that testimony that he's given you, man. I hope you know how much I relate to that radical transformation, because that's very similar to my story. A lot of the things that you talked about, just about how your actions shift, your speech, your perspective, all of that happened to me very similar to how it happened to you. And it is indeed a miracle. It is the greatest miracle. People always wonder, they're like, well, where's God at? Like what's the evidence of God? Well, it is this. It's what we're talking about right now. This is the greatest evidence that God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit exist. This testimony right here, this is the greatest evidence. If you want evidence of God, this is it right here. Okay, here is two men who are sitting here telling you, and we're not lying, we were utterly broken, lost, hopeless, and blind, struggling our way through life the best way we knew how, and we came to the realization that, good night, this ain't going to work out for me. And in the twinkling of an eye, we were made alive by the Holy Spirit of Christ. We were made a new creature, and everything about who we were changed. Like, that is a miracle. Like, that's not a decision that you make. You couldn't have made that Nick, as disciplined as you are, you couldn't have decided to say, hey, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to change everything about my desires, my speech, my mission, my passion. You can't do that, man.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't change your desires. You can't help what you want. You know what I mean?
I tried before.
There you go.
I remember like years ago thinking, I'm just going to open this Bible and I'm going to read from the start to the finish. And by the end of this, I will believe. And I was like, nope. Like my mind, my body didn't even want to consume and absorb anything that was in the scripture. And it's one of those things that I wish I could take that feeling and just like let people taste it for a second. Dude, like the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, I remember one night, Steph woke up at like 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and I was up because I was just lit on fire. I'm in my Bible. And she's going to the bathroom. She knew I was awake. She has the door open. I walk in. It's like, you gotta just hear me for 1 second. I just read this. She's like, let's just talk about this in the morning. I love that you're on fire, but like, it's 3 a.m. But you start connecting the dots. You're like, how did I miss this for so long? When you finally have that realization, like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world that I haven't experienced yet. One of my biggest realizations was I wanted for so long to be strong on my own. And I thought I was strong on my own. But really what was holding me back was just pride and ego. And I've come to realize just how dangerous pride is. And when I finally accepted the fact that we are weak people, we are weak individuals, and we need someone who is much stronger than us, being Christ, then we can go fulfill our potential, his mission for us. I had to surrender that pride. I had to surrender that realization that like, I'm not as strong as I think. And I can't do all these things on my own. And I never will be able to as hard as I try. So I'm just going to accept the fact that I'm weak in the absence of him. And I wake up every morning and I try to remind myself that. And it's easier said than done. But it's the constant daily surrender.
Yep. That's what I was about to say. And that doesn't feel good always. It doesn't. It's difficult, man. It's such a wonderful thing that the Lord's given you that testimony, because I mean, people from all different, walks of life and backgrounds. They're searching for evidence of God. Even Christians are searching for evidence for the existence of God Almighty, and that this God is indeed a personal being that cares about His creation and is actually interacting with His creation. And they look in all these different places, apologetics, they look, to science, and they look for all this stuff, and yeah, you'll find evidence of God in most of those places, if not all of those places. But look, if you are saved, and you ought to look at yourself and what God has done in you, the work He has done in you, and that is the evidence. That's the powerful thing about our testimony, man. Like, we are walking testimonies for the evidence that this Creator, Yahweh, is real. Like, we're walking billboards for Him, man. The Scripture tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimonies. We're overcoming evil because we are walking billboards for the reality of the Almighty God who loves us, who's called us out of the darkness and made us alive in Christ. Come on, man. What a gift that is.
Yeah.
I've often wondered, Nick, when I was saved, no one knew who I was except for the 10 guys that were in my platoon. The world didn't know who I was.
God bless.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And, man, I think first of all, try to put myself in your shoes and in the shoes of other people who I now see on social media who do have a following, who are, people listen to them and interact with them, and I see them getting saved, and you're like one of the primary examples of that. And I think, good night. How difficult would it have been for me if I would have gotten saved and the world knew who I was and the world cared who I was, and then all of a sudden I am receiving inputs and opinions and all of this stuff from hundreds of thousands of people trying to influence me and the way I understand my faith and the way I understand Christ and how I'm supposed to act and who I'm now supposed to be as this new creature. Like, how has it been navigating that, dude? Because I know you've had it. I mean, it's probably even countless the number of people who have reached out to you, and you don't know these people. You don't know what their lives look like. You don't know what their faith looks like, but they're trying to give you advice and input on who you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to look, and how you're supposed to believe. Mm-hmm. And whether that's from all these different denominations or whatever it may be, I mean, how have you navigated that, man?
Well, spiritual warfare is a real thing.
Yeah.
And the enemy is always working. I have come to realize that. The overwhelming response has been positive, extremely positive, especially when we have these in-person live events we go to. We were in Nashville a few months ago for a race. We were in Pittsburgh in January to kick off the Pittsburgh Marathon series. We were in Austin last weekend a few weekends ago for the Austin Marathon. People are no longer coming up to me at these in-person events and activations asking me about how to train for a faster marathon. They want to talk about this journey that I'm on and my faith. Mm-hmm. People have been coming up to me and praying over me. Like, Steph and I were in Nashville a few months ago, and we pulled up to this coffee shop. It's in Franklin, Tennessee. It's called Hank's. And before we went in, we prayed together about like what we wanted just the Lord to show us while we were in Tennessee. And literally got out of the car, walked into Hank's, and this guy walks up to us. Hey, yo, are you Nick Bear? I was like, yeah, we're visiting this weekend. Yeah, dude, I've been seeing you share more about your faith online. Like, absolutely love it, dude. Really appreciate you. You mind if I pray over you right now? Like, yeah, sure. So we're standing in line, getting ready to order our our coffees. Coffee shop's full. We're next in line. This dude just stops and like hands over us, praying over us. Whole coffee shop gets quiet and it's just watching this happen. We leave that coffee shop. We go to this restaurant in Franklin called Urban Market. Same thing. This girl prays over us. Like, what is going on right now? I should have to say, like, there's been such a huge positive response, but it's also come with a large negative response as well. Mm-hmm. But I really don't care about the negative responses. Yeah. I have viewed it as, all right, my faith is being tested. So what am I going to do in these moments where my faith is being tested? I'm going to lean in. I'm going to be bold. And I'm going to stand firm for what I believe in. So I view a lot of this opposition and negativity as a test of my faith. But when I was, saved this past summer, it's all I wanted. It's all I wanted and could talk about. I had a hard time talking about supplements without incorporating scripture and faith.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just where I was on the journey. And it became so much of everything that I was doing and talking about naturally. And I would say, like, over these last 8 or so months, my spiritual maturity has developed. And I've learned and realized this journey that I'm on is a relationship that I'm building with Christ. It doesn't have to be something that I incorporate into all of my content. And I do a lot of my prayer in the sauna at night. Mm-hmm. And that is my secret place. That is my quiet time. I have like the best prayer sessions. I mean, it's powerful. It's wild. And in one of my prayer sessions months ago, I heard God tell me, in all other areas of your life, you are a performer for the masses, for people. This is something that I want you to be obedient in and faithful and build a relationship with me.
Man, that's awesome.
So that's, like where I'm at right now on this journey is I'm more focused on building my relationship with Christ than figuring out how to fit it into my platforms, my social media.
Yeah, praise the Lord, man, for his guidance to you on that, because that's something that I personally, as your friend, was worried about. And again, that's born out of my lack of trusting the Lord to steward you as his son into whatever path it is you need to walk. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had, that like the Holy Spirit had revealed that to you and shown you that, okay, this is what this is going to look like, all right? Because it would be so easy to lose the purity of that relationship between you and your Lord, to lose that in the mix of thinking of how you can now integrate it into all of your content. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, like, even within the church, the visible church, okay? Anyone who's part of our community, online community, who identifies as a Christian, another thing that I worry about for new believers who do have a following is all the different inputs. And I've even hesitated to give any of my inputs to you in terms of my interpretation of the scriptures, whether it be my reformed style of theology or understanding of the scriptures, or, soteriology or things like that, because it's like, you don't need 100 people telling you what the Bible says. Mm-hmm. Like, you need the Holy Spirit in you revealing to you what the scriptures are saying, and you need a few men who you're doing life with, a good pastor and some elders around you who are established in their faith, helping guide you in that journey. You don't need 1,000 voices. One dude telling you, well, you need to be Orthodox. One dude telling you need to be Baptist. One dude telling you need to be Catholic. Like, I could just see how confusing and frustrating and destructive that could potentially be, man.
Yeah.
I am so thankful that the Holy Spirit spoke into you that type of guidance, dude.
The amount of people that reached out initially was pretty wild. I mean, lots of pastors, a lot of people coming to me with business opportunities, which felt very disgusting.
Yeah.
How to monetize like my faith in this journey. And you know, I feel that I hear very clearly from God in my prayer time. And I've been very grateful that he like has guided me and answered a lot of these questions that I have as I navigate this journey. But I want to make sure that it is a relationship that I'm building. And what's been so interesting about like the way that I've shared my life and documented this, 12-year journey on YouTube and social media is that I think everyone believes or thinks that I have this like grand strategy of content. It's not like that. The way that I built these platforms is I share in real time what I'm pursuing, what I'm passionate about, what I'm learning, what I'm interested in. So this past summer when I was saved, my content was driven by like what I'm in real time experiencing. And it just naturally made its way into the content.
Yep.
But there was never like this strategy of, well, this is now where we're going to fit faith. It was like, this is what I'm feeling.
That's so good, man.
This is what's on like my mind. Me and the guys would be filming an Iron Man series. I'm like, dude, I'm in the book of Ecclesiastes right now. We got to talk about this. I'm lit up on this right now.
Yeah.
And that would guide a lot of the content. So I've always just created based off of what's top of mind and what I'm genuinely curious about. But what I'm really trying to be careful with right now is to make sure this maintains or continues to be a relationship that I'm building. And then I share what I want to share along the way if I want to share it, in hopes that it might spark a curiosity of some other individuals.
Yep.
Like for example, I had Ken Ride out on the podcast a few weeks ago. And during the conversation, we identified and he brought up the fact that he does a lot of these races and performances because they are driven from an insecurity, something that he's trying to fill, a void that he's trying to fill.
Oh man, that hit with you, didn't it?
And I was like, hey brother, I've been there. I just want to like share what I've experienced. And if you're open for it, I'd love to connect you with, because he lives in the Nashville area, Pastor Lyle Phillips, who's a good friend of mine. And I'm sure Pastor Lyle Phillips would love to sit down with you and just talk. Just put it out there. And he was super interested and curious, and he met up with Pastor Lyle Phillips. But it's like, hey, if the curiosity is sparked, I'd love to be a resource.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to push it on you. So that's what I'm trying to navigate right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that resonates with me so much, man. Because I integrate faith into a lot of my content, but I do it the exact same way that you're talking about doing it. I do it when it is something that is like really on my heart to share. It's not a strategy of how can I integrate faith into the content. It's what has the Almighty put on my heart. You know what I mean? And so that's it makes its way in there. I mean, that resonates with me a lot. I couldn't imagine it being any other way. I feel like you would get lost if it was strategic.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of, it has now in a weird way become popular, more popular than it's ever been. to be Christian on social media, which is a really strange thing to me, man, because when I got into this whole game in late 2018, early 2019, it didn't seem popular to be a Christian. And that has changed now. And I don't know. I couldn't imagine having a model where all of my content was pre-planned or structured just around my faith.
Right.
I just don't think I could be genuine in that, man, because all of the revelation that the Almighty gives us as He sanctifies us isn't coming from our pre-planning. It's coming through Him, by Him, through His Holy Spirit into our spirit and like flowing out of us, but it's not due to our pre-planning.
I think this Iron Man film that we just launched is like a good example of the message that I want to share, because it was this huge lesson that I personally learned, that I used to root my identity in performance, striving, the next thing, more, a faster time, a longer race, bigger film, more views. And my perspective has shifted, but I see it in so many other creators, in athletes, in men, fathers, husbands, who root their identity in performance, whether that's
military guys,
fitness, work, promotions. And my hope with that film was that it would spark a curiosity of, am I pursuing the wrong things for the wrong reasons? And can I make a change that's not going to just better my life, but my family, the people around me, my future, my legacy?
Yeah. I thought you guys nailed it. That was one heck of an awesome piece of content, man.
I appreciate that.
Let's take a quick break, and after this, I have some personal questions that I want to get advice on. You know, Blake asked me, we have a baby coming in May. Blake asked me the other day, he said, well, actually, we were filling out our athlete profile for BPN. And he said, Chad, you got any races on the calendar coming up? And I thought, and I said, no, I don't. And that made me really uncomfortable to say that. And so
that's good.
I want to get into a conversation about what it looks like to still have goals as a father. Is that possible? How do I navigate that?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you on that.
That's great.
All right. Let's take a break. Our premier sponsor for today's episode is Barbell Apparel. Today I've got on the Motive dress shirt, which a lot of you guys may not know. Barbell has a whole lineup of apparel, not just fitness apparel. This Motive shirt is the most comfortable dress shirt you will ever wear. It's tailor-fitted. It doesn't get a bunch of wrinkles in it, and it's just as good as you would expect something to be from Barbell. They've got jeans. They've got running shorts. They've got clothing that you can wear and functions well out on the range while you're moving and shooting. You name it, they've got something that you need. They've been an awesome partner with us here at 307 Project for a long, long time. So if you're looking for some new threads, go check out barbellapparel.com. It's one of the ways that you can support the mission that we have here at 307 Project. Thank you, Barbell Apparel, for making this episode possible. You guys check them out. Again, that's barbellapparel.com. All right, we're back. And yeah, so like I told you, Blake asked me, do you have any races on the calendar? Okay, we got a kid coming in May. I took all the races I wanted to do, all my personal, fitness goals, and just had to 'cause I don't know what's coming, man. I just had to say, I need at least a clean slate for a couple of months here. You know what I mean? To figure this out. But when Blake asked me that question, it did make me feel super uncomfortable for many reasons. I think, one reason is something I think you can really relate to is like, dang, what are people going to think about me when they see my profile on the BPN, site as a BPN athlete? Like they don't know I got a kid coming in May. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I felt that. But one of my biggest fears about being a father is that I'm gonna lose kind of the essence of who God made me to be, like that. Yeah, that
warrior.
That drive, like, because me and you are a lot like that. When I'm most happy, I would say, when I'm laser focused on something, and usually if that something is physical, that's in my wheelhouse, and man, I just thrive in that. So yeah, man, one of my biggest fears, I guess, is, dude, am I still going? And I hope the answer is yes. Am I still going to be able to have big goals and dreams, as a father, and like do big things? And I mean, what's the for you? You just finished Ironman Arizona. You got 2 kids, young kids.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the answer has to be yes.
I think it has to be yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I think back to, I've been a dad now for a little over 3.5 years. During those years, I've run a marathon, run an ultra, did a high rocks, did an Ironman, and really big preps. Not just going and doing these races, but like full blown preps for them.
And ran a massive company.
And built BPN, and we've scaled a lot of these last 3.5 years.
Yeah. So I don't know if you understand like how much it means to me for you as an example of that. You know what I mean?
I think we have to keep setting these goals so that our act doesn't become dull. And something I said a few years ago that really connected with other men, especially young dads, was if it matters to you, you will make time. There's a reason that my alarm clock goes off every day at 4:30 a.m. It's because by 5 a.m., I'm shoes laced up, out in the door running. Life now looks very different than it did 4 years ago. The schedule isn't as flexible. But I would argue that I'm getting after it more now than I was 4 years ago. Because for me, when I have less time, I have to be more resourceful, and I have to say no to a lot more things. For the 1,000 opportunities that I'm provided on a regular basis, I say yes to 1 or 2. It's very few yeses. But something I've had to learn the hard way was my responsibilities always come before my routines. So I'm a creature of habit. I always have been. I love my routines. I love my structure. And I used to live or die based off of those routines. They guided my entire day. But once we had kids and a growing family, I learned that routines go out the window pretty quick. I can say I'm going to run at 5 a.m., but some days Nico's up at 4:45 a.m., screaming, crying, wanting a bottle. So my routine has to be super adaptable and flexible, but my responsibilities will always be priority. In that case, my children are my responsibility. But I'm still going to find time to get in my training session. I never miss training sessions. I'm always dialed in with my diet. Yes, there's flexibility, but those things matter to me. So I forward think and backwards plan. There's a book that has guided a lot of the success of BPN these last couple of years. It's called BE 2.0 by Jim Collins, Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0. Jim Collins is one of my favorite business authors. He's the author of Good to Great,
Yep,
Why the Mighty Fall, BE 2.0. In BE 2.0, and I've talked about this extensively before, but chapter 4 is all about vision and the power of a predefined and communicated vision for your business or your life. And your vision is made up of 3 components: your core values, your purpose, and your goals. Your core values and your purpose, those don't change or shouldn't change within your entire lifetime.
Yep.
And for a business, they change maybe once every 100 years. And then your goals for a business are 10 to 25 year targets. For our personal lives can be 1 to 3 year targets. But if we clearly define, like literally write down, what are our core values? What's our purpose? What are our goals? It makes it really easy for what we say yes and no to. It's a yes if it aligns with our core values, our purpose, and our goals. It's a no if it doesn't. I say no to so much stuff. I say no to opportunities that would probably make me a lot of money, but they don't align with my vision of where I'm trying to get to. And I'm not willing to sacrifice or negotiate my core values, my purpose, my goals. So I say no to a lot of things. That's been even more important now that I have kids and a family, of what I say yes and no to. I say no to most business dinners. I say no to most business opportunities that don't align with that vision. I say no to a lot of these races or interviews or even podcasts because they don't align with that vision. So I've learned you can and should still get after it. I love getting after it. I will always keep getting after it in life. I will keep identifying goals physically, professionally, personally, and hunting them down until I get them. But there's a lot of other stuff I have to say no to in order to do that and still show up for my family. Because what I don't want to do, and I've done this before, so I have like some experience with it. I say yes to certain things that I personally want to go after, but the collateral damage that the family feels isn't worth it. You know, there's certain goals that we want to accomplish personally, but they're going to rob us of our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual energy. It's not fair to our family. I've done that before.
You were just talking about it before we even started the interview. I think a recent example.
So I'm really careful with what I say yes to, knowing what comes with that chase, that pursuit.
So is this something as a family? Is this something that you and Steph like took intentional time to get clear on in terms of your core values and your purpose? Does that happen? Should that happen on the family level, like with you and your wife, and then also with your team at work? Like, is that two separate things, or are they combined? Or
I'd see them as two separate things. Like, if your business core values, purpose, and goals, so your business knows how to operate, and then your family core values, purpose, and goals, and then the family knows how to operate. It's like Steph and I will set our goals, and that they're loose goals. Like, we don't always write them down and look at them daily.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the 3 things that we're working towards right now. That's going to guide everything we say yes or no to. Because I found if you don't have a vision, you don't know where you're trying to get to.
Man.
So then you don't know what you're saying yes and no to.
It's like the biggest lesson from LandNav, right? It's like, if you don't know where you are and where you want to go, you can't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. You can't, you literally cannot navigate. People ask me all the time, oh, you're really good at LandNav. You were a Navy SEAL. Like, if I just dropped you off somewhere on the earth, could you navigate, to where you? It's like, no, you have to know where you are, and you have to know specifically where you want to go, and that's the only way that you can even move. Yeah. Because if you don't have those two components clearly identified, you don't know where you're going to wind up.
I mean, this is one of the reasons that when I go into these fitness preps, I've had a pretty high success rate of calling my shot and then going to do it.
Yep.
But it's because I lay out this plan. I know where I'm starting. I know where I want to get to. I know what milestones I have to hit along the way. I know what I'm not willing to sacrifice, what I am willing to sacrifice, what work needs to be put in. We lay out the structure. And then along the way, like I know by the time the race day comes, if I'm going to hit that goal or not. Like I've never lined up for a race thinking, man, I want to go like sub 240, but I don't think I'm in sub 240 shape. I know when I line up, oh, I'm definitely hitting this time because I've monitored and managed that structure and that progress along the way based off the vision that I set 12, 16, 18 weeks prior.
Yeah. No, that's going to, but that for me, yeah, I mean, I needed to hear that because that for me it's going to take some intentional effort. My strategy in life, I thrive in chaos. And I don't think that I'm going to be allowed to operate that way when we have a child. I don't think it's healthy for the child. I don't think it's fair to the child. I thrive in chaos. Like if a situation presents itself, and not that I don't ever prepare and think about things. Obviously, I do. You know, you have to put in the work to show up and win a race. But I like to, man, just send it, man. Like we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know what I mean? So just hearing this, you know, this is a conversation that, yeah, me and Brooke are going to have to sit down and have, because right now it is unclear to me, like what opportunities to say yes and no to. Because an opportunity is an opportunity. Like you said, you're saying no to a lot of things that would probably make you a lot of money and have an impact on your life, a positive impact on your life in some way, shape, or form. We're not talking about being greedy here. We're not, you know, but look, man, everybody, we like to get after it. You know what I mean? And
I think a lot of times opportunities are actually disguised as distractions, though.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think I haven't been taking that, and I don't think I have reached that level of wisdom yet. Because I'm new to this, man.
There's a line in scripture, I believe it's in Matthew, talking about not putting new wine in old wineskins.
Yeah.
You familiar?
Yeah.
And I had a mentor that broke this down for me, and we didn't really put it in the context of having a family and growing in that sense of life, but it was more so we were talking about it in the sense of after I was saved and reborn, I couldn't just go back to my old way of living because those old wine skins would burst with the new wine. And I think of that kind of in this new season of life you're about to enter, where you're about to be new wine, being a father and a leader of your family in a larger capacity. And it can't just be the child is born and then you go back to your old way of living, because those wineskins will burst.
Yeah, man. I want to avoid that.
Yeah. But so many people, I mean, like, I've been there. So many people do that. It's like, well, it's just a kid. The kid's born. Now I'm going to go back to my old way of life. But you can't put the new wine in the old wine skins. It just doesn't work that way. And it took me a long time to accept that. Like, I remember when Charlie was first born, realizing that I couldn't just go run downtown Austin with a group of guys to film a YouTube video on a Saturday morning anymore wasn't really a thing that I could do. Man. I had like this FOMO, like this fear of missing out. I hate to say that. When I first became a dad.
No, I have the same fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I experienced that.
Let's be real, man.
And I fought that for a long time. I fought it of, man, am I slowing down? Am I being forced to like miss these opportunities to keep growing? But then I eventually realized, oh, everything I actually want is like right in front of me.
Mm.
Now that Charlie's older and Nico is walking and running, like you realize how fast these years go. Everyone says it, and it's very cliche, but the fact that my daughter's about to be 4 years old this summer blows my mind. She's asking me questions that blow my mind. Like, we have a real relationship. My son's getting there now. You realize how fast it happens and how much they pick up on their environment and who they're around on a regular basis. And just the responsibility of being a father, 2 children, to a family. That is like the greatest responsibility ever. It's like the only responsibility I want at this point. And it just puts things into a new perspective. Realizing the power of being a true selfless servant to people you love more than anything else. Mm-hmm. It's so powerful.
When you look at just kind of overarching your life, like from a 10,000 foot view, in all the different aspects of your responsibilities that you fulfill in life, like how are they ordered? Like
God, family
specifically,
wife, and then kids.
Okay.
And Steph and I had to learn this the hard way. You know, when Charlie was born and then Nico was born, we naturally just spent all of our free time on the kids.
Yep.
And we neglected ourselves, like our relationship. And you end up just being like roommates at some point.
Wow, man. Me and Brooke are worried about that, dude.
So we've forced ourselves to do weekly date nights. And it's work. Like, you have to put the work into the relationship to keep the relationship thriving. You know, we recently took a trip to Cabo, just me and Steph, for a few days, and it was awesome. Steph's mom came down, watched the kids. We went to Cabo and just hung out and spent just quality time together for what feels like the first time in a long time. But it's so easy to just spend all your free time on the kids and then neglect the marriage. And that's something we've really prioritized in this last year.
Mm.
Keep the marriage on fire. It's hard, but like intentionally put effort and time into the marriage. So God, marriage, children. And I would say like personal health. I would put that even above fitness, or not fitness, business. For me, like getting my runs in, going to the gym, prepping my meals, taking care of myself so I can show up for the people in my life. And then it's business and everything else.
Yep. That's good, man. It's good. It's great to just get clarity on that and to keep that at the forefront of my mind moving into this next season, man.
It's so easy though, in that order, to feel like you're doing it wrong. Like, I'll be honest.
Sure.
There are times I'm like, dude, am I showing up for the business in the way I'm supposed to and need to right now? But I've seen way too many people, they sacrifice all the other things above it for the work, thinking that's going to be the solve. And then everything above it falls apart, and then the business falls apart. But it's really hard to manage all the complexities of life. It's really hard.
Yeah. And it's hard too when you know, as you add components to it, like your faith is now added as this is the new number one. And then once you get married, and then once you have kids, and then it's like these layers, where do these layers fit, you know?
That's why it is hard to fit in like the Ironman prep. It's like, where does the ultra prep fit? Where does the race fit? So I'm still honoring all these other commitments.
Yep. As far as your like your identity when you, I guess one of the things I'm fearful of when I know I identify as a son of the King, like a member of God's kingdom, right? First, but just like I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my identity almost in a carnal sense of like who Chad is, like just walking around Chad when I do have a child. I know a lot of you parents are listening to this and you're laughing at me, but also a lot of you parents are listening to this and your entire identity is as a father or as a mother. I have seen that play out not good. And I'm afraid of like falling into that trap to where that is my entire identity is as a father, right? And I want to continue to set goals for myself, but also so that my kids can see that I'm my own man. Like I'm setting an example of what a man should look like to them, not just as a father, but as a man in general. You know, so how soon after having a child do you put something on the calendar? Like what's your advice on that? Like how long do you leave that runway clear when you have a child to like what's safe to say, okay, I need to start be conscious of like, and maybe it's different for every family, but for you and Steph, what was it where you were like, okay, now I think I have the capacity and it's a good move for me to go ahead and set a new goal for myself, kind of apart from, you know, a fitness goal, a race, right, whatever it may be. How long does that take, man?
Well, I think if you're even asking yourself that question or even concerned that you're going to lose your identity, you're probably not going to.
Okay.
I think a lot of times it's the people who, like the dads who are thinking, oh man, once this kid comes, I can like cop out of all these other things because I can use the excuse, well, I got a kid.
I do not want a dad bod, dude.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be concerned about that. My goal has been like getting more in shape and more ripped since having kids.
But that's the opposite of what I see around me, dude. I mean,
they're not the standard though.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like, how do this many people fall into the same trap?
Well, like Steph and I will make it very clear. Like, I think like there's certain dads out there and moms who are full-time dads and moms, and I have a lot of respect. I have all the respect for that. But we still have a responsibility and an obligation to steward our bodies and train and eat healthy. Like sometimes Steph and I are at like a family event, a gathering with other families, and I look over, I'm like, you see all these dads here? If something happening right now, no one is helping us. These guys just let themselves go. They don't train. They're drinking a beer and eating a burger. And it's like we have, as men, this responsibility and obligation to steward our health and fitness, to be leaders and warriors.
And skills.
Yeah. So if you're even asking, if you're even concerned about that, I think that's like your answer right there is you're going to maintain your sharpness. You will not become dull. Because the men who become dull view it as an opportunity, as a justification to become dull.
I see exactly what you're saying, dude.
Yeah.
That's a foreign mindset to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I fear that, dude. Like I
had that fear early on. It was, how am I getting my runs and my lifts in?
Yeah.
How am I going to balance all this stuff? And those first couple months, to answer your second question, those first couple months after your first child is born, you're really just figuring it out. Like, I won't even say go into it of having expectations of when or what you're going to put on the calendar, but just allowing yourself to be present for those first couple of months and then navigating that as a family. Hey, this time feels right. We have a routine and structure in place. But like every family's routine and structure is different. But once you fall into that groove, you can find where these areas of opportunity are to carve out some time to dedicate to this new project or this new pursuit. I remember when we first brought Charlie home from the hospital, and we walk in the house and we put her in like her little bassinet in the living room, and we were just sitting there and we go, well, now what? And this first couple like weeks, they just sleep the whole time. And I remember looking over at Steph being like, can I go in the garage and work out while she's sleeping? She's like, yeah, go ahead. But like those first couple of weeks and months, you're kind of just on call. Like you're navigating what this new life looks like. How can I support my wife? Like, how do we both make time for ourselves? Where do I need to lean in more? Where do we need support? But we found that we established a strong routine pretty quickly after we brought Charlie home. And even when we brought our second child home, Nico, establishing a new routine with two, which was much different than having one. But you fall into a routine pretty well. Like, for example, Steph and I's morning routine every morning, Monday through pretty much Saturday, is I wake up first, and I wake up early, and I consume like my run fuel, my carbs, my GM Sport, and I go sit in front of the red light therapy for like 10 to 15 minutes. Go in the garage, lace up my shoes, go for my run. Get back from my run. I'm typically back from my run around 6:15 to 6:30. The kids wake up anywhere from 6:30 to 7:30. So as I'm waiting for them to wake up, I make my breakfast. Steph is waking up. She's making her coffee. She's doing red light therapy and reading her Bible. Once the kids wake up, I get them up. I get them ready. Steph goes in the garage and she works out. And when she's done, she comes back into the house. And at that point, kids are up, kids are fed. We both got our workouts in, and we can start our day. Yeah. But it took us, a few weeks and months to figure out these routines.
I got a lot of ways to go to get to something like that, brother.
But you fall into it naturally because you realize, before having kids, I could negotiate with my schedule a whole lot more. Wake up, I don't feel like going for a run right now. I'll go in 2 hours, I'll go later. But now I wake up, I'm like, if I don't run now, I ain't running today. So you don't have a choice. It's like, time is now, time is go, execute. Because or at least I know, 6:30, 7 a.m., those kids are waking up. And the day gets wild after that. So what am I going to do from 4:30 to 6:30 to make sure I do my time, take care of myself before I become a servant to them?
Yep. I needed to hear that, man. This is answering a lot of questions I've been having. It's very encouraging to me, though. It really is. Because, like I say, it's been racking my nerves.
Like, for example, if Charlie wakes up early and I go into her room and I check on her, I get her up. If I'm not wearing my running shorts and sweaty, she'll go, why didn't you run today?
Really?
Yep. I say, because
she's already noticing it then.
Oh, yeah. For the last year.
Yeah.
She'll say, how many miles did you run today? She knows.
Wow,
Dad
man.
Wakes up and Dad runs.
And that's got to be good for them, too. Mm-hmm. Like, that's got to be good for her. Because she's not going to forget that's... Like, she'll hold that memory of who her dad is and was for the rest of her life,
Yeah, and then when Steph's in the garage working out, sometimes she'll go work out with Steph afterwards. So like, I'll be with Charlie and Nico in the living room while Steph's working out. Charlie will come up to me and say, can I go work out with Mom? So she'll go in the garage, she has her little weights, and then when she comes in, she goes, Dad, can you make me a protein shake? That's so I get her milk, man. I add some protein to it, I mix it up. She calls it her morning chino. But like, they watch everything.
Yeah. And like I'm asking these questions for like myself, obviously, and some of the listeners might be thinking about, well, Chad, why didn't you ask Nick these questions on your run later? Because we already have kids, and all this and that. I think how this applies to other people listening to the podcast, and not just me personally, is hopefully somebody's going to hear this and they're going to realize, yeah, man, I have been making a lot of excuses. I have gotten a little sloppy, and I've been telling myself there's no way, to actually still have goals, to actually still stay fit, to actually still get these things done. There's no way with the job I work, with the way everything's set up. It's like, well, what Nick's telling me is I'm going to have to change some things about the way I got stuff set up. And there actually isn't an excuse. Mm-hmm. There actually isn't an excuse. Like, we don't get it.
Yeah, for me, it's getting started is probably the hardest part for a lot of people. And there's this uncomfortable adaptation of getting started. And then with more repetition and more exposure, that muscle becomes flexed and adapts and builds and becomes resilient. And then it just becomes part of what you do. Yeah, I think this conversation is very applicable because a lot of times when we go to these events and we talk to people, one of the things we hear on a really regular basis is people saying, once I started a family and had kids, I didn't think I could keep pursuing some of these goals. I didn't think I could change my life. I was unhealthy before. I thought I was just going to become more unhealthy after having a family and life becoming more complex and complicated. But it was the exact opposite, where they started waking up earlier. They started changing their eating habits. They started saying no to a lot more things. And saying yes to the things that move the needle in their life. And here they are running marathons and ultras and Ironmans and doing all these things they never thought they could do.
Yep. And I think that's another critical piece of it for me is it sounds really it sounds really like motivational and cliche to talk about how important it is to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things, and having all of that dialed in. And like, that sounds really good, and I know that's going to work, but I also know that's going to be difficult. And I know that anybody listening to this that chooses to make that shift in their life, to dial that in, I know it's going to be hard for them too, because I'm feeling it right now. Like, that's going to be hard for me. Like, saying no to I've already had to do this. I've already had to do this, and it hurt. Like, those first few months, I had to say no to some speaking engagements. Like, that cost me probably $60,000-$70,000. Like, it already hurts. So as good as it sounds, yeah, man, it's going to take some dialing in and some repetitions. I'm pumped about it. Actually, I've been saying I'm afraid about it, but now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of pumped about it, because it seems like this is the whole next iteration in really tangibly having to walk out what it means and looks like to die to yourself.
For sure.
And to become a servant. It's got to be the next level, dude.
I mean, I've grown so much in the few years that I've been a dad. And it is by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Steph and I talk about this.
Dang.
All the time. But it's the most, like, there's so many cliches, but like, it's so rewarding and so fulfilling, but it is truly the most exhausting thing. I mean, we end a night, almost every night, on the couch or the bed, just being like, what a day.
Heck yeah, man.
But then we go back through our photos of like the weekend, with the kids. These moments are just incredible.
Awesome, brother.
I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you. I'm sure I'm going to be texting you and potentially calling you a time or two when I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Keep setting the example, man. Keep setting the example because, I mean, for me, at 38 years old, with all that I've accomplished, like I'm able to look at what you do and be inspired in that specific way by what you do, you know? So I want to encourage you because it means something to me. And I know it does to thousands of other people too. But
I actually heard this described very well for, I think, like what you're experiencing right now. And maybe a lot of other people on the other side of this podcast. I heard parenting described in this sense where a lot of people will think of parenting as like this capstone to life, where it's like there was the me before kids, and then I had kids, and like that kind of is the capstone to all this cool stuff I was able to do.
Yep.
And now I'm just a dad or a parent or a family man. But instead of being a capstone, it's a cornerstone. Where it's like you thought you experienced life before, and then you become a father, and there's this cornerstone of life now where the adventure is like you don't even think about your previous life afterwards, because this new life with children and a family is so abundant and blessed that the adventures are infinite of where it's going to take you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And I guess the reason that I don't see it in that, I grew up in the South, dude. And 90% of families in the South, it was the capstone. Mm-hmm. That was when everything else ended. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm sure that's a big part of the reason why I'm feeling so much angst around it. You know what I mean? This is great, brother. What's going on at BPN right now? What's coming up?
We got a crazy.
You guys just released the truly grass-fed new protein. I know you put a lot of time and effort into.
Lots of time into that.
You and your team both, yeah.
Yeah. So in March we're launching the truly grass-fed whey protein isolate, which was a really interesting discovery and process, because when we decided we wanted to make a whey protein isolate, we went to our manufacturers and our suppliers, and we said, we're looking to source a 100% grass-fed whey protein isolate. They said it doesn't exist. We said, what do you mean? We see all these people in the market selling a 100% grass-fed whey protein isolate. They said 100% grass-fed whey protein isolate doesn't exist. So come to find out, there's a lot of improper marketing and communication within other brands. What their labels are really saying is that 100% of the powder in this bottle is grass-fed protein, even though it's saying 100% grass-fed. Mm-hmm. So we went with truly grass-fed. It's a material that is verified and certified to be 95% grass-fed, coming from a farm in Ireland under that certification process. So we're launching that product in March. April, we have the Go One More Ultra that we're running back, which is going to be huge this year.
An awesome event, man.
And then May, the team is going to Pittsburgh because we're the on-course nutrition sponsor of the Pittsburgh Marathon. And then June, we're launching the Strength Collection, which is a pre, pump, and post strength supplement line.
I think this is one of the major things that sets BPN apart in the industry is just the, I guess really the honesty behind what is in the products and the third party testing, and just like you guys really caring about the product being labeled truthfully and exactly what it is, so people know what they're putting into their body. I care what I put into my body, and I'm not going to lie to you. there have been a lot of protein powders and a lot of pre-workouts and a lot of stuff that I've used in the past that makes me a little nervous because I'm like, I wonder how much of this is actually like good, clean, useful ingredients, and how much of it is just junk.
It's an interesting industry, and
I've been concerned about it myself as an athlete. You know what I mean?
That's why we enroll all of the products in the NSF Certified for Sport program.
Yep.
So every product we offer is NSF Certified for Sport. And then we do third-party and in-house testing on all of our products. But we're excited about the whey protein isolate. I mean, for a lot of people, they can't handle a traditional whey protein concentrate because of the lactose.
Yep.
And the isolate has minimized lactose in it. Just makes it easier for digestion.
Easier on the stomach. Yeah. That's awesome, man. And then I guess the race is sold out. That's pretty much lottery only, right?
Lottery only. We had some VIP invites that we brought out this year. Like Harvey Lewis is coming and throwing down.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe we're starting the race with 172 runners, April 10th. I'm expecting the race to go over 100 laps this year.
Is Kendall
and Kim are both coming out.
They're both coming back?
They're both coming back.
Man, their guys are stout, dude.
It's going to be cooler this year, being in April, not May.
Yeah, that's going to be a game changer.
It will be a game changer.
That heat was brutal last year, man. Brutal.
That's why we moved up to April. But the amount of eyes on that race last year, I mean, it went viral.
It's never. I've never seen anything like it before in ultra running.
I think this year will be the biggest year it may ever be, because year one was so big. Everyone's coming back for the follow up. So we'll see. Yeah,
and the ending of year one was not optimal.
Right.
So, I mean, just to see those two guys to get the opportunity to duke it out again, that's going to be big, man.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
It's going to be big. I know they're both going to be tuned up, and which with those races, you never know. You get to the point that one little thing, you do one little thing wrong, and you go over the edge.
Yep.
But it's I'm looking forward to seeing what happens out there, and then you throw in these other guys in the mix like Harvey. I mean, Harvey's the OG, man.
He's putting in a big block too.
I'm talking about Harvey is the OG.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these young guys, I don't know if they're smart enough to be nervous or not, but they better be nervous.
See, that's what I'm going to love, is seeing the dynamic between the undisciplined, young, overzealous racers, and then someone like a Harvey who just comes in, he's patient. He's like, he knows when he's going to strike. He's like a snake. It's like, I'm sitting back until it's the right time to strike, and then I'm making my move.
Yeah. I mean, Harvey Lewis, world record. He's held the world record in the last man standing before. I don't think he currently holds it, but I mean, undisputedly one of the best in the world at this particular format.
Yeah.
And such an awesome, humble dude, too.
So humble.
You spent some time around him?
I've had him on the podcast before.
He is awesome, dude. Awesome. That's going to be big, brother. We're having a last man standing race in March. When's that coming up, Courtney? Here in about 3 weeks, right? Here in a couple weeks, end of March. So if you guys want to try your hand at last man standing before you do at the 27th, before you go maybe apply for next race next year, you want to try your hand with us, you can go sign up for that.
You're not running, are you?
No, okay. I won't be running.
How many runners do you have?
We've got now probably around 60. I haven't checked it in a few weeks. This is first year we're trying it, the last man standing format, but ours is unique. So one thing that we're doing to make it different is we got the same 4 mile loop, trail loop, but every loop you lose a minute. So the
Oh,
first
cool.
loop's an hour, second loop's 59 minutes, 58 minutes, all the way down. And what we wanted to do is create something that also rewards speed, because the way Last Man Standing is set up right now, the traditional format, it only rewards endurance, essentially, just being able to grind out that slow pace for a long, long time. So it's going to be funny to see who can start running, in 24 hours in, who's going to be able to put down 36-minute loops on that 4 miles.
A 36-minute loop then would be like 9-minute miles.
Yeah, and you're 100 miles in.
Yeah.
Can anybody do it? Like, can anybody even go 24 hours?
That would be very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to get down to a couple guys. And I think the guys that are going to win aren't just going to be your traditional ultra runners. I think they have to be fast.
You have to have speed.
You have to be able to run fast. Yeah. So, it's my favorite format, though. Last Man Standing is my favorite format to race.
That'd be fun. It'd be fun to see people turning their legs on that deep into a race, though.
I'm just pumped to be a spectator. You know what I mean? To see who can call that speed up late in the race, because you know how it is, man. You get 24 hours deep into these things, and those legs get real heavy.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to turn them over.
Do you know if you have anyone coming out who can throw down?
Yeah, I do. We've got a good 4 or 5 guys that have won multiple races and have won some of our races and are really putting the work in. So
that's the thing about those races. Like, you need 2 people.
Yeah, you got to have at least 2.
Out.
And I know for a fact we have at least 2. Yeah, that are gonna be able to not only go the distance but also call on that speed
right
late in the race. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to learn a few things just watching it.
I love the speed element to it. We've had that thought before of how to make a race like a Last Man Standing format more interesting, so it's not just loop after loop after loop.
It's interesting for the guys that are running it. Like, even just when they're every loop for them is interesting. But for the spectators, you drag it out 4 or 5 days, and you start to lose people.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already planning on being at the ranch for our race for a week.
Yeah, dude.
I'll probably get like 5 strength training workouts in.
Oh yeah, yep. Make sure you have plenty of those tomahawk ribeyes on hand, and you got the grill going, because you're going to be there for a while.
Traeger delivered out there. Like, I'm hunkering down, ready to live there.
You're going to be there for a long time, dude. That's awesome, man. Well, Nick, we'll wrap it up. We're going to go do a little trail run here in the mountains. I'm going to take you up to a really cool overlook and get a few sessions in the sauna, eat a little dinner, enjoy our evening.
Looking forward to that ribeye.
Yeah, man. I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm pretty good, but you can be the judge.
All right.
Guys, you guys hear us talk about BPN all the time, so you guys know BPN.com. Follow Nick, just Nick Bear. He's going to pop up. He's not hard to find. And reach out to him, man. Thank him if you got something out of this conversation. And thank you for having the courage to share your testimony the way that you did. That's what I wanted to capture with this episode. And mission accomplished.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Love you, brother. Enough said.